Hale, Samay, Sama, Sambandh. Just some of these similar words that we saw between Swedish and Hindi as we dig deeper and find stronger roots between Sweden and India. Hey, namaste and good afternoon, Your Excellency Ambassador Anurag Bhushan, Political Secretary Rakesh Tiwari, and our State Secretary Daniel Westlin. Welcome. A big welcome to our distinguished guests and friends. And we are very, very happy to have you here at Engaging India at Almedalen 2025, which is the 6th edition. With me is Professor Emeritus Uwe Ronström from Uppsala University. Uwe's large body of work, over 100 publications, has significantly contributed to the intersections of our understanding of culture, society, sustainability, climate, and its intersections. He's also, interestingly, been knighted Riksspelman, which is the highest honor in Swedish music. And also joining us is Dr. Swaminathan Ramanathan, another co-founder of Engaging India at Almedalen, who bridges the academic and policy research with business strategy. So he delves both in the academic world and the corporate and policy world. And he teaches with Uppsala University and is director with Deloitte, giving strategy to corporates on sustainability, impact measurement, climate. So together, we started Engaging India at Almedalen back in 2019 with the thought to have a platform where we can have open dialogue between the corporate world, between researchers, academia, policymakers, students, startups, and really make it an enriching forum where conversations can go beyond this stage. And that's sort of my take on why we started. But over to you, Uwe, and then Swami, a minute on why did you start this forum?
Thank you, Rupali. Should I start? Thank you, Rupali. So it might sound like a bit of a cliche, but a lot can happen over a Swedish fika. Uwe and I, Uwe's wife Annalie calls me a lilla bror, as in both Uwe and I are like brothers. Of course, he looks like my father, but that's a different issue. So we started having a Swedish fika, and I used to have these freewheeling conversations with Uwe. And the first thing we started doing was to compare notes in terms of culture, saying that, well, what's happening in the Swedish culture, what's in the Indian culture, and then we decided that, hey, you know what, both Swedish culture and Indian culture have so many similarities. And it started off with one simple similarity, saying that both in Sweden and in India, you don't enter anyone's house without removing your shoes outside. And if one can believe, we've reached here. It started off by saying, hey, you know what, we remove our shoes outside and then we go home. And today we are here at Engaging India at Almedalen. That's how we've sort of collaborated. So, Uwe.
Yes, and also what's going on out here is an idea of creating a meeting place in an island, which is considered was considered a safe haven for this kind of meetings, which are now very problematic in many parts of the world because of security issues. But mainly people thought that they could come here and talk about important things in a safe environment. Islands are always supposed to be safer. And we thought we'd use that to create also a forum, a platform, a forum for talk and for meetings and encounters using Almedalen, but to create also bridges between disciplines and also between the academia, of course, and the business world, which is, I think, incredibly important. So we are all happy that you are here. And for now the 6th year, and it has been, up to now, quite successful, I think.
And we hope to continue that journey, of course. And Uwe, the theme this year we have is Sambandh for climate, sustainability, AI, and next gen innovation. So I'm handing over the floor to you to make the opening remarks, and after which we will call our honorable ambassador.
So thank you. Well, distinguished guests in place and online, since we are also streaming and online, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Sweden, the State Secretary to the Swedish Minister for Climate and Environment, and dear panelists, dear guest participants, I'm proud to be able to open and welcome you all to this 6th edition. It's about rejuvenating the planet. How can Sweden and India collaborate for a sustainable future? A very big issue indeed. But as in previous years, the overarching focus of our seminars is sustainability. And this year, as we heard, we turn our attention to the role of artificial intelligence in sustainable development. The central question that we ask today is, can AI and next generation innovation accelerate shared sustainability goals? But let me start with a reference to contemporary or almost contemporary popular culture. Many of you, if not most, might recognize this conversation. I now have to speak in a deeper voice. We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI. The other one, AI? You mean artificial intelligence? I suppose you recognize it. Yes, it's Morpheus speaking to Neo. It's from, and to all of us in the cinemas and on television sets all over the world. He's introducing what the Matrix is. The Matrix, a world wholly created and controlled by artificial intelligence. That was then, way back in 1999, 26 years ago, a time when AI was still needed to be spelled out and explained. Time flies, as the saying goes, but that feels now as an understatement. For today, AI is everywhere in 26 years. Since 1999, the development of and use of AI has advanced at breathtaking speed, yet we are, as we have heard today already, we are still in the very beginning, and no one will know where it will take us. But what hasn't moved forward at such a breathtaking speed, however, is sustainable development. We already know a lot about what needs to be done and what must be done. And yes, things are happening around the world, but not enough, and sadly not fast enough to reach the sustainability goals already agreed upon by the international community. In the academic world, many has observed a widening information deficit, a term used to describe the widening gap between knowledge and action. This a gap that emerges when political leaders, business actors, or the public either deny or fail to grasp and act upon what research tells us about the extent of the human impact on climate and the environment. Many theories have been proposed to explain why our accumulated knowledge is so hard to absorb and translate into action. But perhaps the simplest explanation is the most accurate. Sustainability is simply unknown. It's uncharted territory. We don't know actually what it is, do we? Sustainability is an abstraction projected into an unspecified future. And like all such future abstractions, it suffers from lack of empirical concreteness. To strive for something we don't know, we don't yet have, this is one kind of challenge. To strive for something that we even don't know or understand fully, that's far more difficult. That's why we need visions. Bold, imaginative, and vivid pictures of what the world could be. And here I like to paraphrase a song by the possibly forgotten mamas and papas of the mid-60s. The song is like this. We ought to know by now, we ought to know by now, yes, that we must take us somewhere where we never been before, and worn out phrases and long engages won't get us where we wanna go. No, this is the song. They're all right, but visions may take us there. Because once we give shape to the shapeless, and once we give form to the unknown, it becomes easier to see the path that will lead us where we need to go. Visions have agency. This we know for certain. Just think of what has come about over centuries from religious, political, technological, and not least literary visions, utopian visions. In a study of utopian ideas in the Western world, a colleague of mine, the Swedish historian of ideas, Ronny Ambjörnsson, observed how utopias tend to emerge and gain attraction, especially in periods when there is a widening gap between possibility and reality. That is, when society's structure blocks us from realizing the full potential of accumulated knowledge. And I suggest we are now in the midst precisely of such a time marked by an increasing disconnect between possibility and reality, when we cannot fully realize the knowledge we have accumulated about climate change, about pollution, resource scarcity, biodiversity loss, and more and more and more, because of the way our societies, our economies, and not least our systems of knowledge are organized. Here, I believe, is where AI, artificial intelligence, comes in. It might come in as a potential game changer for three main reasons. Just to keep it short, I stick to three. Firstly, sustainability is definitely what has become known in academia, at least, a wicked problem due to this huge scale, scope, and complexity. And as with other wicked problems, there's always a risk that the solutions we choose may create new problems, and sometimes even more severe problems than the ones we aim to solve. Wicked problems demand specific competences and very large amount of competences to handle problems of global scale and extreme complexity. Secondly, sustainability deals with systemic properties at a high level of abstraction, properties of how systems function or should function together. And when these systems work well, these properties are normalized and fade into the background. In fact, sustainability tends to become visible only in its absence. When systems break down due to disaster, to scarcity, or other crises, in that sense, we have plenty of knowledge and experience of what sustainability is not. But what it is continues to merely escape us. Sustainability then is a concept born out of scarcity and crisis. And like many other crisis-driven discourses, it comes with a Janus face. On the one side, we have the positive utopian visions of a better world, and on the other, the dystopian alarmist visions expecting ecological catastrophe just around the corner. And here, the Wachowski's version in The Matrix from 1999 is not only cinematic history today, it serves as an always available backdrop to dystopic discourses on what AI can do with us and can have in the future for us all. So thirdly, the vast distance between the abstract systemic level and the everyday reality that we all inhabit helps to explain both the growing gap between possibility and reality and the likewise growing information deficit that many has pointed to as key obstacles to achieving sustainable futures. While everyday reality is tangible, familiar, something we can grasp and handle using both acquired knowledge and lived experience, the systemic level is abstract and distant. We can gain knowledge about it, but our everyday experiences doesn't help us much. And since what we aim to achieve lies in the future, we have no past experience to rely on. So here we are. We have enough visions to show us where we could go or should be heading. We know that more action is needed. We've gathered already quite a bit of knowledge about what needs to be done, and we have indeed done some things. So my conclusion here today is simply this. What we need now are tools capable of handling wicked problems, capable of processing vast amounts of knowledge from diverse domains, tools that can synthesize and model consequences at an abstract systemic level, based on the myriad of everyday actions humans undertake, and the many solutions we try out, and tools that can advise us about how to translate all this to the everyday realities of ordinary people around the world. And as far as I understand, up to now, AI can be, might be, or might become one such a tool, beyond the many more tangible applications now being developed from ChatGPT, facial recognition, power grid monitoring, autonomous drones, and whatnot. If that's the case, then we might still have a chance to reduce or even overcome the widening gap between possibility and reality, between knowledge and action, a chance to finally get where we should already have been going. And where is that? Well, a world that stays within the planetary boundaries given to us. A world where heroes like Morpheus and Neo is not needed. A world where they may remain safely where they belong on the silver screen as part of 20th century cinematic history. And from such a perspective, I would now like to go forward to today's seminars on innovation, IE, and sustainable development, and wish you all welcome. Thank you.